Hello and welcome to Real Menopause Talk. My guest today is Charlotte Cave. I first met Charlotte when I walked into her salon a number of years ago, and I've been going ever since. She's an exceptional hairdresser who currently has 2 salons in South London. She's also a wife and mother to 2 boys. One of the symptoms of menopause that I hear about a lot is hair loss and hair thinning, and as we get older, both our hair and skin undergo changes. Fortunately, Charlotte is a great source of knowledge in these areas, so we met up to discuss her experience of menopause and the key to hair care. Charlotte, really lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed for coming on this morning.
Oh, it's lovely to be here, Hattie. Thank you.
Start with telling us a little bit about yourself and your family background, what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'll care and share. So my name is Charlotte Cave. I am from Leeds, a Yorkshire girl. I was raised by my mum and have 2 sisters, and I moved to London 1993 or something, and I trained in Leeds as a hairdresser, but my sights were set on London. The big lights, the big smoke, bright lights, big city and all of that. And went to London College of Fashion to study fashion styling and makeup. And then my journey took me, luckily, I worked in a salon all the time through studying to pay for my study. And I was lucky enough to work in a salon where I met loads of people. And collectively with my degree I was doing, I got to do a lot of music videos and fashion shoots and stuff. And then in 2010, I think it is now, I opened up my first salon in Clapham Old Town, where it's a very small boutique approach, home from home. I always felt when I was shooting, I lived in a cottage in Stockwell, and that cottage had a garage attached to it, and I turned it into a makeshift salon. But it was a real golden period of time where it sort of showed you it wasn't really about the environment, it really was just about a good cup of tea and good hair. And actually I made cheese on toast for a lot of people, and that had a really wonderful, that's my love food. Anyone who knows me knows cheese on toast. I make it better than anyone I know, and it is my love food. I'll still continue to do my clientele that I met during my time in Soho, London, but also rock stars would come. So there would be occasions where this did actually happen, where Kate, who was NHS nurse at the time, she had just done a night shift, and she turned up at 10 o'clock in the morning to do her highlights. And at that time, Chris Martin was asleep on my sofa because he just needed somewhere to escape to, all from I knew Coldplay from a very long time ago. So it was a mixture, the darkness used to come over, and my mum served them tea. So it was a brilliant collection of people learning and sharing time. So I took that experience, and that's what I did, hopefully, in our Clapham Old Town salon. And then I got a little bit greedy, Hattie, and opened up my second, needing some more chairs, which is on the High Street in Balham. So it's a bigger shop, a bit more glamorous, a different feel for the young kids.
Both are very beautiful. Having had my hair done in both of them, I really enjoy them. And the people that you work with and who work for you are an absolute joy as well.
Oh, well, I'm very proud of them, I have to say.
It shows, and they love being there, which, is possibly half the job in itself, really.
I'd almost go as far as to say it's almost 80%, if not 90% of the job. I am at the mercy of my team, and without a good team, you are really, although you're back to the garage, which is not so it's not so shabby, but a different experience.
Where are you in terms of menopause?
Oh, my goodness, all the way through, Hattie. I think this is really the important thing, is I'm 50 in July, and I had not even contemplated the menopause when it first started to happen to me. It wasn't on my radar, so I didn't think I was perimenopause. I wasn't. Looking back, I think it started when I was about 43, 44. So, and my mum didn't have the menopause, and she complained about it quite a lot because she was a single woman, but she didn't have the menopause till very late. And as we know, research tells us that it is often 50% can come from your mother is often the same thing. So I went through the perimenopause during that period, and then it was about 48, I suppose, I had my last period. I said, waved goodbye. Yay! That's an upside, I have to say. And then started thinking about what, I was just going to let it sail, to be honest. It was because I'm a hairdresser, I'm lucky enough to have amazing clients, and I have a particular client, Jackie. Thank you, Jackie, who's a gynecologist, and she was the one that insisted I did something alternative than just doing nothing. So that's when I started to do a bit more research.
And what did you discover?
I'm a little bit sort of stoic in my upbringing, I suppose. It's a bit like you just get your head down and get on with it. And I spend a long time, my heart is to serve others. So part of why I love my job is because it is an honour, I have to say, to receive guests, and they share not only their hair with me, but their lives. So I hadn't, up until that point, I just thought, I'll just get on with it. It's okay. But it was the most important factor was when Jackie was in my chair and she encouraged me to go down the HRT. She said, it's really, osteoporosis is a real thing, connection. And I do get a little bit of arthritis creeping in occasionally, having 30 years of using, my husband calls my hands little tiny claws. Or paws, probably in a more affectionate day. So I was very worried about the bone structure, the bone density as I get older. And Jackie went, just basically get your coil. I hadn't had the coil before, so I knew all my periods. I think that's something we'll talk about later, but about being aware of the changes in your periods. Obviously, I was completely in tune with that. So she went, get the top coil and get the estrogen. And I almost didn't even at that point, when I have one of the best gynecologists in the country who lectures and, she's a teacher and she's brilliant. Even at that point, I was like, really? Will it really make a difference? But once she said about the bones, I was like, okay, well, let's look at that a little bit further. And that's what I did. I went off and I was quite demonstrative, I suppose, in my approach to the doctors because I was lucky enough to see Jackie. I didn't want to have a broad conversation in terms of, are you just feeling depressed, or will you manage, or all of those intimations. And actually the woman I saw at my doctor's surgery, I handpicked her, from the website. It was my doctor's, but there are specialists, I believe, in most doctors and GPs, I hope, by this day and age, but I'm not sure if that is, but there is at my doctor's. So I saw she was a wonderful lady who I spoke to, and she booked me in for the coil, and then I am estrogeled up.
What were your symptoms then that led you to discussing it with Jackie first of all?
Well, I had to write this down, actually, Hattie. I had to think about this because it's been, obviously, I've gone through the full cycle. So it's hopefully quite useful that I've gone from the beginning to the end. But when I thought about that period from the beginning of my perimenopause, I felt quite emotional thinking about it because it was a really difficult time in my life, and I put it down to opening up my second salon. I have 2 children, working, trying to bring up the boys. My husband was traveling a lot, and I attributed it to my mental health, not my physical health. So the perimenopause, I was getting really heavy periods, and I was at my anxiety. This was the beginning period. So the heavy periods and the anxiety was beginning to creep in. I'm not a brilliant sleeper, but sleep was definitely becoming more of an exotic thought. Even 6 hours would have done. That lasted probably 1 or 2 years of irregular periods. And sometimes, if I can, I'm going to give you it all, Hattie. I'm not going to hold back. Yeah, but there was one particular occasion. I was having quite a bad time at work. I was getting a bit bullied in my own business, which was quite challenging, and I didn't quite know how to deal with it. And all the stress was building. And the way I tend to deal with it is I put my best face on. And I remember putting on this very pretty pale blue dress and a white shirt, which is our uniform in Balham, and put all my makeup on and went into the salon. And there was lots of giggling and whispering in the corners, and it was sort of a very stressful moment. And then someone just came up to me and tapped me on the shoulder and said, you might just want to look down and my whole dress was just covered in blood. It's soaked. It was like somebody had stabbed me. It was the most humiliating thing when you're trying to lead a team and inspire your clients. That was probably as low as it went. And by the way, it wasn't. I had a tampon and a pad on, so it had gone through all of that. So. But, those things that don't break you make you stronger, right? And, of course, I have a very good reference point for when I talk to my friends and clients. Really, all my friends are my clients, actually. So it's a good way of seeing my friends. So it does put me in a good spot for empathy, and to alert people as well. If these things are happening, it's a trigger point. So that was the emotional side and the physical side were combined. I'd gone to the doctors. Nobody mentioned menopause. Nobody, nothing. I went even for an MRI because I was getting these sort of nerve shocks in my sleep. And I think that was just all building up. And it's the unconsciousness of what's happening to you physically, there's no understanding. So I went to the doctors, had an MRI because I thought something more spooky was going on, and I went backwards and forwards. And of course, because nobody mentioned, should we take a blood test to see if you're menopausal? I just carried on, as you do. But then the hot sweats came, and then I was starting to go, okay, and the searing heat at night, was nobody could touch me. It's like my poor husband, get off. Don't touch me. Which is it's not a great moment. But one thing I did do when I was putting on weight, I was tired, stressed, and I remember sat on the edge of my bed one day and I was folding socks, which I hope everyone must agree with me. I'm sure it is the most annoying job. I mean, literally, somebody needs to invent a way of sticking a magnet in socks so they stick together. And I remember sat on the bed, and I think I was wearing my husband's T-shirt, and I was just sort of sat slumped, folding these socks, and I looked up on my wardrobe mirror, and I just thought, oh, no. This is not working for me. So I took myself off to a very expensive underwear shop just off Northcote Road in London. It was a very lovely French lady, and I bought myself a silk nightgown, and that was honestly one of the best investments. It was £200. It was very expensive, but I think it was 236 actually, if I remember rightly. But it was so brilliant to just go to sleep. It was floor length, which I never thought I would buy, and it had support, but just a gentle amount of support. And it just helped so much with the hot sweats, and also how I felt about myself, because I felt a bit more zhuzhy. Even if I insisted on sleeping on my own, I was still. So that was one good thing that I did through that whole process of working through the hot sweats and such.
I can empathise with all of that. The flooding is one of the things that we don't really talk about that much. I mean, if I'm really honest, it is humiliating. Partly, I think, because we've gone through this for so many years that I felt I should have a handle on this by now. I should know how often I have to go to the loo and how often I have to change a tampon. And yet being caught out at this age, and sometimes I would have to go every 40 to 45 minutes.
And I think that it's the physical side of things. I mean, I'm lucky because I spend all my time looking at other people. I can say this hand on heart. I'm not that bothered about the human body in terms of going red or sweating. I'm often sweating anyway because of the hairdryer. But actually, it's the physical side of things. It's felt almost sometimes painful. Mm-hmm. The sort of fizzing on the skin, it is just like, and that searing heat from your toes to your head, like moving up. So it's very distracting, and you lose your train of thought. It's like, what am I doing? And all you can feel is that feeling. So the physical side of things was the hardest for me, actually, rather than worrying about. I think that's really important as well, is to not worry about what other people think. And ultimately, I work with women, so I can do oh, babes, I'm having the hot flush, and joke it off. I'm fine with sharing.
You and I have definitely had some very personal conversations when I've been sitting in your chair, and you've been an enormous emotional support through some big events in my life. Presumably other women come to you and discuss all sorts of things. Do any of them discuss menopause?
The one thing that is great about me, let's go there, is that nothing is off the table. So I think if you create a space where it's okay to talk about it, or to laugh about it, or to cry about it, then I receive that with great grace and honour and humour as well. So yes, my clients we all care and share. I've made some errors, I think. I think hairdressing is an unusual job where you tread a very delicate line between the friends, the scientists, when you're colouring, the stylist, all of the things that hairdressers are, the cleaner or whatever. Sometimes I have allowed quite heavy conversations to open up into the salon, and because that's the space I create. And I'm not sure it has always been good for my clients, because I'm not a therapist at the end of the day. I'm a hairdresser, as best intentions. So I think over the years I've learned to be a bit more playful with the menopause, so it's not, because you don't want to spend, I'm not cheap, Hattie. You don't want to go top drawer and then leave feeling more sad than you arrived, because you've spoken about how you feel and in your helplessness, which sometimes the menopause can feel you leaving. You want to feel when you left my chair that it's okay, that actually. And I tell you what, I don't know a woman who doesn't agree that great hair is a really great thing. So I think I start with myself with clients. You heard me earlier saying, I'm having my hot flush. I don't know what I'm on about. So it's creating the space where people feel like it's not serious, but you can talk about it, even though the underlying subject actually is quite serious. Over the years, I've learned to communicate through just saying everything that's happened to me, and I describe the bloody dress a lot funnier a lot of the time. And so then it allows them people to go, okay, if it's happened to you and you're laughing about it, then if it's happening to me, then that's okay.
One of the symptoms is skin dryness and hair dryness. And a lot of the women I've spoken to have had hair thinning or even really falling out, colour changes, not just from dark to grey, for example. As far as menopause and hair is concerned, what experience do you have? And what tips do you have for us all?
Well, I can completely help you out with that, Hattie, because I know lots and lots about that. So yes, the connection between hair thinning is definitely key. As our hormones change and our estrogen depletes somewhat, all of those elements, and testosterone, of course, let's not forget about that, has an effect on hair. But all is not lost. It can be very alarming when that starts to happen in the shower. People sort of feeling like clumps, or they feel like they need, to hoover the bed or the pillow because hair's falling out in the pillow. So there is a connection, but there is lots of things you can do. Biotin is a really, really great vitamin, and it's all the zinc, magnesium, biotin, and vitamin D. There are your key ones, and cod liver oil for the menopause to balance. Now, I'm a great advocate of vitamins, but I have to confess I am very unreliable at taking them myself. So I don't want to preach to people when I don't do it myself. But I do know when I have them there by my kettle. That's the way to do it, I think, is just have it by your kettle or by your toothbrush, whatever works. And just take them, but don't expect a miracle the next day. Your hair is not suddenly going to look like a golden retriever in 2 days. It's just, you just have to go, that's what I'm doing. In about 6 weeks, your blood normally starts to show signs of improving and building, but it's normally about 3 months that you get a good return on your commitment and discipline. I have terrible discipline, but discipline is a really good thing. Also, the hair care is really important, and skincare and hair care is really important. And I think sometimes with my clients, there comes a little bit of defense. I'm not sure why, but in the way of, I don't have time is normally what I don't have time. It's like, okay, let's slow this down a little bit. I am not a miracle worker. I am a really good hairdresser, but I cannot give you twice the amount of hair without a little bit of time. So by simplifying what you do, but committing to it, a bit like the vitamins, is key. And hair is like skin. You double cleanse, you care, and create. So that is the golden rule, 3 things. So a good shampoo, there's lots of shampoos now that contain biotin and stimulants for the scalp. And also there, within those products, there is the biotin tightens the follicle on the scalp, so actually holds on to the hair, as well as stimulating growth. And of course, if we're mindful that what goes on inside the body is more important, as in it's busier than the outside. If we're taking our vitamins and using shampoo that contains some of those key ingredients and that can tighten the pores on the scalp, that holds onto the hair, while helping sort of give the hair follicle a little bit of a sort of a knee jerk, if you will. And then care, hydrate. And that does not necessarily come from a conditioner. The more I talk to clients, the more I hear that most people don't use conditioners correctly. They take a big blob, they put it on their hair, they run their fingers through, and they rinse it out. Conditioners are completely useless unless you use it yet. Is that sounding? Yeah, I totally get that. But conditioners are hopeless without a comb, because their only job is to smooth down the cuticle. It's not like a treatment. Conditioner is just to smooth down your cuticle, which will give you the look of silkier, shinier hair. However, if you're not smoothing the cuticle down with a comb, the conditioner is futile, and it's just another product in the shower that you may or may not be using correctly. My recommendation is you shampoo your hair twice. Don't worry about the big matty mess that you've got in the shower. Just rinse. Lots and lots of water. So obviously we are all trying to work within our 3 minutes in the shower. But when you are shampooing your hair, make sure your hair is completely drenched. Like the wetting of the hair is more important than the actual washing of the hair. So once your hair is fully hydrated, that means that the shampoo can emulsify properly into the scalp. So it's not about the hair, it's about the scalp. So hair thinning, all of the menopause-related symptoms, sensitive scalps are really big. And I'll talk about allergies in a minute but the scalp is king. So you shampoo and then you rinse, and then 2 shampoos if it's like me, a week since I've washed your hair, or maybe 10 days, depending how I'm going. Rinse and then come out of the shower, and it's just like washing your face. You then put your moisturizer on, and then you leave your moisturizer on for a couple of minutes, then you comb through your hair. So we're taking almost one product out, but adding a moisturizer like the skin. So we're cleansing, double cleanse like the skin, and moisturizing. And that way your moisturizer will protect your hair and keep the hydration locked in, so it's not going to go as brittle. If you color your hair, it's not going to oxidate with, like a light bulb can oxidate colors. If you're a brunette, it can go what I call a rusty color, as brunettes are really hard to hold their brown and blue tones. I won't get too technical about hair on this one. So it will lock in the moisture, and then you put on a create product. So either a volumizer or hopefully the volumizer has a heat protector or a mousse, or if you're a curly head girl, then a curl cream. So that's only 3 products, but it's just spending just that little moment, get rid of everything else, do your 3 products, and then once a week, put on a treatment, put on a hair mask, even do it the night before. I'm a Sunday night bath. That's the only time I can have a bath, on Sunday, because I'm a bit impatient. But I don't even wash my hair in the bath because it's kind of disgusting. But I do wet my hair in the bath and I just whack on a treatment. It does not need to be shampooed. just even if you're going to the gym and you're brushing your teeth, just damp your hair down a little bit, put a dollop of hydration, a good treatment, comb it through, put it in a plait or, whatever, and then go. And then when you come out of the gym, you wash. And that is your hydration locked in. They do two different things, outside, inside. Skincare is exactly the same. Double cleanse, moisturize, protect. So a city block is absolutely essential for the skin's anti-aging. And vitamin C. There has been studies as well, and also my own experience is what you drink and what you eat, obviously we all know is exactly related. But if you have a dry scalp, your hair will not grow as well as it should. And scalp understanding is really important. So don't ignore the dry scalp, because the scalp is the skin, same as the skin on your body, and that is the biggest organ on our bodies, the skin, and it absorbs everything. It's a massive sponge. So if you have a dry scalp, think about, boringly, how much wine you're drinking, because during the menopause, there are lots of sensitivities to the sugars in wine and the tanners. So I just say switch it up. I'm not saying anyone stop drinking, but just get involved with the gin and tonic. It's very fashionable. But just think about your coffee and wine intake for scalp health. That will give you glossier locks, if that's what we're going for.
You mentioned allergies as well earlier.
Well, that's relating. So the allergies is relating to alcohol. That's the biggest one I've seen with my clients who are going through the menopause, and it happened to myself. I have easy hair. I don't have difficult hair, thanks to my mum. And I've never had a dry scalp in my life. And it wasn't by accident that I was drinking more wine through the perimenopause, because I had no idea what was going on with me. And so I dipped my head in the bottom of a bottle a few times, and then my scalp started to get dry and altered. And obviously that's to do with dehydration, but hormonally you just can't receive those toxins. It's enzymes that you lose your enzymes when you're menopausal, and then your body has to work twice as hard. And so what the body will do was go, well, I'm not that bothered about your hair, because I've got to look after your liver and your kidneys and your lungs. So all the resources go into the organs, and that's where the hair can get affected. When it's lifestyle choices, I'm not going to judge, but it's just a little bit of that mindfulness. With correct hair care, you can really combat that. Be simple about it and just accept that you do need to shampoo your hair twice. I mean, double cleanse. It's okay.
I always worry that would actually dry it out more.
When you double cleanse, it's the same as skin. So keratin, skin, hair, keratin, same. Which is why double cleansing the skin is one of the best things that, if anyone doesn't double cleanse their skin, just try it for a week. Your skin will thank you for it. So the first shampoo really sits on the surface and removes the pollutants from the hair, the same as the skin. And the reason why hairdressers bang on about using a sulfate-free, a good quality shampoo is because then the second shampoo then absorbs into the cortex. So all of the lovely ingredients that your hairdresser has lovingly sold to you gets a chance to absorb into the hair. So it starts to strengthen. So it does the opposite. It doesn't dry it out, it strengthens. I'm not even sure I knew, even 10 years ago, why sulfates were such a bad thing. And sulfate is a salt. Sodium chloride is table salt. And salt in your shampoo is drying, Hattie. You are completely right. So every time you shampoo your hair, and yes, we all love the bubbles, that's all fabulous that you're getting a big bubbly shampoo. But basically, that is just the salt hitting the water and foaming up. That's bad, because salt, as we know, is as soon as you have a bag of chips, I love salt and vinegar on my chips, and I eat it, I literally have to tank a pint of water afterwards, because you can feel your body like going, and it's the same with hair. It's the same with hair, that a sulfate shampoo will dehydrate your hair. A good shampoo without sulfates will strengthen your hair.
And then your moisturiser afterwards, is that as simple as a leave-in conditioner?
A leave-in conditioner, all of those all that language is really good. I suppose I'm using the word moisturiser to try and connect you with the idea that it's the same as the skin. So it's as vital. For me, putting on a moisturiser is important as putting on a bra. I can't go anywhere without either one of those things. Knickers, not so much. But moisturiser and bra, I can't leave the house without. And so I think women now are intuitive. They know what's good for their skin, but their hair, they've still got this myth that a moisturiser on the hair is going to make the hair floppy or fly away or all of those things. It's not, because we've taken out the big problem, which is the conditioner, and replaced it with a good moisturiser. And you can get a leave-in conditioner that's light, detangler, all of that language is really good, Hattie.
Are there any particular products that you really love?
I sell Orbe in the salon. It's very expensive, but it lasts a very long time and it delivers what I need personally. So I'm always going to refer to that because that's what I know myself really well. But to be honest, the market is a very sophisticated billion-dollar market, and there are some great products out there. And again, try and look for keywords: sulfate-free, sodium chloride-free for the shampoo. Focusing on organic products is good because it's your skin. So because your scalp is your skin, it absorbs like an organ. So if you are asking your hair and your scalp to absorb another toxin, then it's taking away, it's anti-aging, it's aging, right? Because your body, your skin is an organ. So the more you ask it to work, the quicker it will age. And that's the whole reason why we talk about anti-aging, is don't make your skin work too hard. So take away the chemicals. Sustainability is obviously a really important conversation. For me, almost over the organic conversation. But if you put the principle of you're not asking your skin to work too hard, then organic is important. If we think that the conditioner is out of the picture, then perhaps all of those options might be a little bit better, that you can put your money into a shampoo rather than two bad products. Just put it into one good product. And the moisturiser or leave-in conditioner, keywords: protect, SPFs are really good, city blocks, hydrate, heat protector, yes please, let's have that. Detangler, you can have all of those messages, and you'll go around the houses. The one that I swear blind by is Super Shine by Orbe, but just again, because I've used it, just to give somebody an idea, it's like, well, what's she talking about? Give me a name. That's the one that I live and breathe by. But there are loads of products out there that do the same thing.
What would you like to change about the way menopause is perceived?
That's a good question, isn't it? Perceived. Well, definitely it's not your fault, or you're not going mad, or it's just me. I think that language is not very good, is it? And with everything is about education, isn't it? So you have to go right back to our kids, right? We have to get it into the schools and talk about it. Someone said this to me, and I can't remember if I heard it on the radio or if it was a client, because all my clients could be radio stars. It sort of made me stop a little bit, where when we're young women, we're told for the first 10 years of, say, if we have I had my period at 12. So you're told from you're 12, why you can't get, if you have sex, you're going to get pregnant. So you can't have sex. So you're going to get pregnant. So there's all the danger around that period of a woman's life of, oh my God, if I have sex, and the tension between, then you get to 28. Oh, well, if you don't have sex all the time, you're not going to have a baby. And what's that going to do? And then you're going to have a baby. So then you have to change your gear again to then start thinking about sex differently. And then nothing. There is nothing after that. But actually, the one thing that is completely fantastic is obviously after the menopause, it's free will. It's great because there is no danger of any of those things happening. So it's another mindset. So a more positive. I think that should be talked about. The freeing. It's liberating. I am more happy at 50, my 50th year on the planet, than I think I've ever been. I can genuinely say that, and I am fascinated by that sexualization of my femininity has been taken out of the picture, and now I can just do what I like with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yes.
So I think that's perhaps what I would like to change, that right from the off is that we talk about our whole life as a woman, not just to have a baby or not to have a baby. It is liberating, it's freeing in terms of how you feel, how you look can be really helpful. You know, it's a bit like the silk nightie. So if you feel sad and you are able to do something that makes you look better, then do it without feeling guilty, or, you know, just go, okay, I really need this. And you, I hate that phrase, but you really are your own person and you really are worth it. Just make the time for yourself and just go, okay, if how I look takes a little bit more time but makes me feel better, then go for it.
Oh, well, thank you ever so much for your time, Charlotte. That is.
I hope that was helpful, Hattie. I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Bye.
Finally, I know how to wash my hair properly. You can find Charlotte at charlottecave.com and on Instagram. Please leave us a review on iTunes, as it boosts our ratings and helps more people discover us. Share and spread the word. The more the merrier. Thank you for listening. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.